What if the happiest dragon in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise is actually the most tragic character in the entire story? Most people watch these movies and see Toothless as the cool, funny, lovable dragon who saved the day. But when you slow down and actually look at his story, something different emerges. Something heartbreaking. Because Toothless didn't just lose his freedom, he lost his entire world. Toothless is one of the most beloved characters in animated film history. He's playful, loyal, powerful, and endlessly charming. Kids love him. Adults love him. He's basically the perfect companion. But here's what most people miss. Beneath all of that charm and those big green eyes is a character carrying a weight that almost no other fictional creature has ever had to carry. He is the last of his kind. And that single fact changes everything about how you watch these movies. Today, we're going to look at the real story of Toothless. Not just the fun parts, all of it. And by the end of this video, I promise you'll never see him the same way again. Let's start with the most important thing the movies tell us about Toothless. He is the last known Night Fury alive. In the Dragon Manual, the Night Fury is described with words that should send a chill down your spine. Speed unknown. Size unknown. The unholy offspring of lightning and death itself. Do not engage. The Vikings of Berk had clearly encountered Night Furies before. They feared them more than any other dragon. And yet, by the time we meet Toothless in the first movie, he's alone. Completely alone. No pack, no family, no others like him anywhere in the known world. Now think about what that actually means for a moment. Dragons in the How to Train Your Dragon universe are social creatures. We see this throughout the films. They gather in nests, they follow alphas, they form bonds and protect each other. Being part of a group is fundamental to how dragons exist in this world. But Toothless has none of that. He flies alone. He hunts alone. He lives alone. And here's the part most fans never stop to think about. Toothless doesn't know why he's alone. He has no way of understanding the history of his species. He just wakes up every single day as the only one of his kind in the entire world. That's not just loneliness. That's something much deeper and much darker than loneliness. The movies never show us Toothless's life before Berk, but they give us enough clues to piece together a picture. And it isn't a pretty one. Night Furies were hunted, feared by every Viking tribe in the archipelago. Every human who saw one tried to kill it. That was just the way of the world. Dragons were the enemy. And Night Furies were the most dangerous dragons of all. So imagine what Toothless's life must have looked like. He couldn't fly openly during raids without being attacked. He couldn't approach humans without putting himself at risk. He had to be fast. He had to be invisible. He had to become exactly what the Dragon Manual described him as. A ghost. Something you never see coming and never see leaving. That's not freedom. That's survival. And while other dragon species had the safety of a nest, had numbers, had a queen to answer to, Toothless had nothing like that. He existed completely outside of every social structure in this world. Too dangerous to be accepted by humans. Too alone to be part of any dragon community. By the time Hiccup shoots him down in that forest, Toothless has probably spent years living like this. Alone. Hiding, surviving. This small detail changes everything about the moment Hiccup first approaches him, because Toothless isn't just a wild animal being cautious. He's a creature who has had every reason in the world to trust no one. And then Hiccup shows up. This scrawny, awkward Viking boy who can't fight, can't lift a hammer, and doesn't fit in anywhere either. In a lot of ways, Hiccup and Toothless are the same. They're both outcasts, both misunderstood, both trying to survive in a world that wasn't really built for them. But here's what makes their bond so extraordinary. Toothless chooses it. When Hiccup first approaches him in that cove, Toothless could have killed him. He was stronger, faster, and completely capable of ending the threat right there. Instead, something made him pause. Some flicker of recognition, maybe. This human was different. This human was afraid, just like him. And so begins one of the most carefully built friendships in all of animation. Hiccup doesn't force himself on Toothless. He doesn't trap him or trick him. He approaches slowly. He puts down his weapons. He lets Toothless take the lead. And gradually, day by day, something extraordinary happens. Trust. Real trust. The kind that has to be earned completely from scratch. What Hiccup gives Toothless isn't just friendship. It's the first genuine connection Toothless has ever had with another living being, possibly in his entire life. For the first time, Toothless isn't alone. But even with Hiccup by his side, Toothless's story never stops being tragic. It just becomes tragic in a different way. Think about the second movie. Drago Bloodfist arrives with the Bewilderbeast, an alpha dragon of terrifying power, and Drago uses that power to do something devastating. He takes control of Toothless's mind and forces him to attack Hiccup's father, Stoic. Stoic dies saving his son, and Toothless has to live with that. He didn't choose to do it. He was controlled, used as a weapon against the person he loves most. But that moment of losing himself, of being turned into something violent and destructive against his own will, is one of the most painful things any character in these movies experiences. And it happens to Toothless silently. He doesn't get a scene where he processes that grief. He doesn't get to fall apart. He just carries it. Then there's the deeper tragedy that runs through all three films. Humans keep hunting dragons. Grimmel the Grizzly in the third movie is the clearest example. He has hunted Night Furies to extinction. Every single one, except Toothless. Grimmel is essentially the reason Toothless is the last of his kind. Let that sink in for a second. The villain of the third movie didn't just threaten Toothless. He already destroyed his entire species before the story even begins. And now, he's come for the last one. Toothless has been hunted his whole life simply for existing. And now, we get to the ending. The ending that broke so many hearts and that most people still don't fully understand. At the end of The Hidden World, Hiccup makes the decision to let Toothless go. Not because he wants to, not because their friendship is broken or their bond has faded. He does it because he loves Toothless enough to put Toothless's safety above his own happiness. The world of humans isn't safe for dragons anymore. As long as Toothless stays with Hiccup, he will be a target. And as the last Night Fury, if Toothless dies, that's the end of everything. An entire species gone forever. But in the hidden world, surrounded by other dragons, Toothless can be safe. He can be the alpha. He can lead and protect and finally exist without the constant threat of hunters. And he has the Light Fury now. A companion, a family of his own. Here's the part of the ending that hits hardest, though. Toothless doesn't want to leave. When he looks back at Hiccup for the last time before disappearing into the hidden world, that look on his face isn't relief. It isn't excitement. It's grief. Real, visible grief. He's losing the only friendship he has ever known. And Hiccup is losing him too. They both know it's right. They both know it's necessary. And it still destroys them. That's not a happy ending. That's two people who love each other saying goodbye because the world isn't kind enough to let them stay together. So the next time someone tells you that Toothless is just a fun, cool dragon, you can tell them the truth. Toothless is a creature who was born into extinction, who spent years alone in a world that wanted to kill him, who found the one friendship that made his life worth living, and then had to walk away from it so that something bigger than himself could survive. He never asked for any of it. He never complained about any of it. He just kept showing up, kept being loyal. kept being brave. And in the end, he gave up the most important thing in his world so that every dragon who came after him could live freely. That's not just sad. That's one of the most quietly heroic stories ever told in an animated film. And it belongs to a dragon who couldn't say a single word.